Well, hello again, everybody. This is Marvelous Mark here, and you know, if I keep doing these videos, you're gonna think I'm gonna start becoming prolific again. Well, I'm kind of leaning towards that, but I just got it done watching SummerSlam 1991. I finished watching it last night. I was actually gonna do this last night, but you know, when you get to be my age, sometimes you fall asleep before you want to, and that's kind of what happened with me last night. But this was a top to bottom. This was actually a pretty good show. It's just amazing to me looking at this back in 1991, and now we're in the 2017, and it's like, God, how many of the people are gone that were on this card? I mean, like the opening match with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, the British Bulldog, and Texas Tornado against Warlord and Power and Glory. Out of the 6 men that are in the match, I mean, there's only 3 of them left. I mean, the Warlord, Paul Roma, and Steamboat are still here, but Bulldog and Von Erich and Hercules are all gone. But as far as opening matches go, you want to get the crowd juiced up for the rest of the card, and this is actually a pretty solid opener, where Steamboat gets the fall on Roma, which is probably the right thing to do. I mean, Roma to me was the weakest guy in this contest, so I thought it made sense that Roma would do the job here. But it was a really solid opening match. And then you got a match between two of the best technicians in the history of the WWF at the time, Mr. Perfect along with the coach John Tolos. It was weird that they put him with the coach John Tolos at the time, considering he had been managed by Bobby the Brain Heenan before. But this match against Bret Hart was it was just amazing to me that this was the second match on the card, and you can make, I would dare say this was one of the best matches in SummerSlam history, especially on this card. But I mean, this was just back and forth throughout. It's one of those matches where you could say didn't get enough time, even though just got a little over 20 minutes. And Perfect did a good job of, I mean, considering he had a back injury at this time, and he was hurting, and then Bret Hart, they were splitting him off from the Hart Foundation, from being a tag team wrestler, and then starting his singles push, and him winning the title here was it was good. I mean, this was back when the Intercontinental title actually meant something. I know The Miz today in 2017 has tried to make it a worthwhile title, and I know Cody Rhodes did it when he held it a couple years ago or so, but the IC title back in the day, that was the workhorse title. I mean, you needed to have it on a guy like Bret Hart who would defend it everywhere and anywhere. But to me, this was one of the best matches in SummerSlam history, and it is one of my favorites. And then you had they were promoting this hard back in the day. On pay-per-view, they had Hulk Hogan: A Real American Story. It's like, I don't know how many people actually saw this back in the day. If you're an older fan like myself, I never did. So I wasn't actually around this time. We didn't even have cable in my house. But then again, that wasn't up to me. So, but then this tag team match with the Bushwhackers and the Natural Disasters. This was all set up because Andre the Giant was. He gets attacked by Earthquake on an earlier episode of Superstars, so this kind of tied into this. And I mean, if the only time you ever saw the Bushwhackers was in the WWE at the time, but WWE. I mean they could still go. McMahon, you pretty much used them as a comedy act, but if you ever saw any of their stuff in the NWA with them against the Fantastics when they were the Sheep Herders, you know they could really go, and they were pretty damn good heels when in the NWA and wherever else they were, but I mean, it was a pretty solid matchup. It was actually more competitive than I thought it would have been, but it was decent. It wasn't really a bad match at all. Then the $1 Million Championship, Ted DiBiase defending it against Virgil. I mean, you had plenty of story going into this. I mean, considering the fact that Virgil and DiBiase were hooked up for the better part of 3+ years, and then finally you had the thing where you had the breakup, and then DiBiase was with Sensational Sherry at the time if they broke her apart from the Macho Man, and DiBiase he really made Virgil in this match. I mean, Virgil. I mean, the MSG crowd, they were really behind Virgil in this match, and I mean, rightfully so. I mean, DiBiase at the time, he was. I don't think anybody else could have pulled off the $1 Million Man character the way DiBiase did. I mean, they gave him all the tools to do it too. I mean, they sold this hard, but DiBiase made Virgil look like he made him look good in this match. And this is probably one of the better matches of Virgil's career, I thought. And then the Jailhouse match. Oh God, I forgot how fun this was. It's been a while since I've watched this card all the way through. But Big Boss Man, God rest his soul, against the Mountie. Oh gosh, Mountie really made this work too. I mean, yeah, they were. I mean, it was a good matchup because you had two guys that stood for law and order. Well, Boss Man probably more so than the freaking Mountie, but I mean, it's just when Mountie was getting taken away in the paddy wagon, he was just screaming like a little girl, and oh God, it was so fun. I mean, and they continue to go through this, but they continue to take shots at him, like laying around the card, like after matches and stuff. They were checking in on him, and when he was getting fingerprinted in that, and it's like, oh man, he really made this work. And then finally when they finally went to them to end that and showing him in the cell with two guys, and one of them looked like a I mean, it was. I mean, you have to figure this is 1991, so it's going to be non-PC, and then you got this guy in leather who's sounds like he should have been wearing pink along with the leather, but hey. But then you had the street fight match between the Nasty Boys and the Legion of Doom for the tag team titles. I mean, you would expect a match like this not to last very long, and it really didn't. It was less than 10 minutes, but it pretty much got the point across. And of course, the Legion of Doom ended up winning the titles here, and it was. I mean, it was a decent match for what it was, and then that's about all I can say about that match. And of course, the LOD, they were hugely over everywhere, but especially Madison Square Garden. I mean, there's a reason why there's such a thing called a Road Warrior Pop, and they sure got it here. And the match after this is R. Shyster i.r.s. against Greg the Hammer Valentine. And at this point, Valentine, I never thought that being a babyface ever served Valentine well. I always thought Valentine was a natural heel, and at this point he was just putting over guys like I.r.s. I mean he was a fairly new character there, I mean, even though Mike Rotunda he'd been there before, like in a tag team with Barry Windham and that back in the '80s, but there's probably a bigger generation that probably remembers him more as i.r.s. than anything else. But basically, Valentine's just getting over the i.r.s. character, and that's about all you can say for that. Then you get to what SummerSlam '91 was really about: the match made in heaven and the match made in hell. Match made in hell with Hogan and the Warrior against the Triangle Terror, Slaughter, and General Adnan Mustafa, with Sid Justice as guest referee. He was pretty much making his debut here. They were trying to plant that seed of doubt where would Sid Justice would he be impartial? Would he lean to one side or the other? But considering you're coming right off the ends of the Persian Gulf War, so you could see why this went down the way it did. Adnan and Mustafa basically got chased off by the Warrior, and then he got it down to Hogan and Slaughter, and Hogan ends up winning it, and then later on Slaughter he goes away for a while, and then you get the redemption story with Slaughter saying he wants his country back and that. But I mean, this match pretty much was what it was. And then you get to the match made in heaven, the wedding between the Macho Man Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth. It's really sad that neither one of them are here anymore. But I mean, considering how you thought there was a lot of build with the $1 Million Man and Virgil build up. Well, there's even more so with Macho Man and Elizabeth, because he brought her in. I can't remember when that actually was. I don't remember if it was like late 1985 or it was early '86. I'm not really. I can't really remember off the top of my head, but just the breakup of him and Sherry, and then at WrestleMania 7, that great match between him and the Warrior. That was probably the Warrior's best match of all time, in my opinion. But just seeing the reunion of Elizabeth and the Macho Man at the end of WrestleMania 7, which turned him back babyface, and then everything just led up to it. And if there's one thing that WWE did good, was having their video packages, and this was no different. This was an awesome video package that they had, showing their reunion and everything. But that's about it on that. I thought this was a very solid card. There's good build up with these matches. It kind of. I thought you could have put the Perfect and Bret Hart match more towards the middle of the card, but as far as what it was, but I thought this was a very solid card, top to bottom, and that's about what I think of that. And next time I'm gonna do a SummerSlam that I actually went to. I'm gonna do a review of SummerSlam '99, which is up in the Target Center in Minneapolis. I actually went to this one. So goodbye for now, and this is Marvelous Mark signing off. If you like what you saw in this video, please hit the subscribe button and hit the notification button so you can be abreast of what other new videos I'm coming up with. So I'll talk to you all later.